Today, we are going to make some grass. No, I'm not in Colorado, so it's not going to be that kind of grass. It's our techniques that are so simple and sensible, your mowers have practically built themselves. Folks, it's Mad Dog Merv. Welcome to today's show. Today we are going to be working on, we're going to start our 1/350th scale USS Missouri. I have decided to go ahead and build it as the Missouri, and I decided that I want to build it pretty much as it was at the surrender. So it'll be wearing measure 22, 22, which is not my favorite paint scheme, but it's what I've decided to go with on it instead of the dazzle that it had. So anyway, we're going to do this build a little bit unorthodox, although it may be a way that you do it. This is just how I have chosen to start this build. So we're going to go over, first I'm going to be doing a bunch of preliminary painting. Then we're going to do some basic photo etch. Now, I'm not going to get crazy on this thing. You guys know me. I'm not a big fan of photo etch. I hate using super glue. But there are some things with these kits that you really do need to, some of the photo etch you do need to use. So we're not going to go overboard on it. I'm not going to get too crazy with it because it would drive me insane. But there's some basic things that we are going to be using photo etch wise. Excuse me, particularly on this kit, the Very Fire kit that's out, that's a little bit more money. They've corrected this by actually molding some of the pieces properly, where here the old Tamiya kit, you have to have these photo etch sides to certain compartments, so they actually look like compartments instead of just a flat wall. So that's what we're going to get started on today. Stick with Mad Dog Merv as we begin our 1/350th scale USS Missouri. So here is what I'm after. I want to try and build this so that it looks like it did in 1945 for the surrender of the Japanese in Tokyo Bay. So with that said, this is battle measure 22. Dark sea blue from the boot topping up to the deck level, and then a straight sheer edge along the deck level on up is haze gray 5H, and this is what I'm going to try and go after. So the paint that we're going to use, I'm going to try something really different this time. I'm going to try this True Color 5N, which you can get through like Arizona Hobbies. There's other places that carry it. It's pretty decent paint. I like the way it sprays. We're going to use some Aqueous number 337 for the haze gray, which is supposed to be a good match for it. We're going to find out. So this is kind of an experiment to see how I like that. And then of course the Life Color 624, which is the deck blue for the deck. Now, of note, we're also going to be using something new. I have tried 3D printed 20mm guns before, but not from this company. This is SS Model that I get this from. And you've heard me talk about them. Reviewed a 700 scale Portland from them. There was a a 3D printed tank that I got from them that I reviewed. And really, the quality of their 3D printed stuff, in my opinion, is amazing. But here's the cool part. For less money than I would get these guns from another vendor, I get 24 of them. Look at this. There's 24 on that wafer. So I'm really excited about trying these out. That's from SS Model Work. You can get them on eBay. Now, I'm going to use this little photo etch bender. I got it for like 24 bucks off of Amazon. Just a little one. Mostly what I'm going to use this for is my staircases and some other things. So we're going to start out with the painting, and I'm here painting the haze gray over the entire upper works All of my photo etch parts are also getting a coat of this. You can see here I'm starting to hand paint some of the deck blue in some of the areas that need it. You can see the contrast on that. So now that the preliminary painting's out of the way, we're going to start putting some of the sides on. And you can see this is how the kit comes. Yeah, it's definitely missing some detail. So according to these instructions here, I'm going to need to remove the stairs and then put these pieces in its place. Okay, so these have got to go. These boat for the boat have got to go, and this stair here has got to go. So that's the first thing we're going to do. First off, I had to remove the old stairs, which I did with my nippers, my sprue nippers, a knife. I didn't use a Dremel on this particular area because of the close quarters I had. But I had to remove that, and then I built a backing to it with some spare sheet styrene that I had. We're going to fill this in with a little bit of putty, and you can see after it's filled in, sanded, and then I've put the photo etch sides on how it turned out. So this is kind of the preliminary on these. I like the fact that we're going to have some really nice looking stairs, ladders, and these photo etch sides. So here you can see I've painted my deck, and the areas that would have, say, a dark blue coating, the steel deck parts, I've painted those a little bit darker. My turrets, the preliminary painting done on those, and I'm just going to go ahead and use the kit turrets. In looking at them, I think they're going to be fine. So for the hull, first thing I did is I masked off the bottom. I sprayed it with my 2X primer, red oxide, which is what I like to use for my hull red. I think it looks really fine. Went ahead, masked off the area for the black boot topping, sprayed that. Then I masked those areas after they were dry and went ahead and sprayed my dark blue. Once it was dry, then I masked that and sprayed the haze gray. Now in this picture here, you can see that I've added some stippling with a different color. This was an acrylic red oxide that I had from Polyscale, and I just used a sponge brush and kind of hit and miss all over this. But of note, you will notice the 5" 38 twin turrets here. I looked at the ones in the kit for the Missouri, and they were terrible, lacking detail, and would require a lot of photo etch to make them even look good. So I figured, since they're the same type of turret, I'm going to rob the ones out of my Verifier Atlanta kit, which are much better molded, much better for this project. And so that's what you see in that last picture. Was I had gone ahead, taken these, built them, and I think they look great. Now for the Atlanta, I've got some 3D printed ones coming we'll talk about at another time. So you can see here how that stippling is on the hull, just a little bit here and there to break up that hard pattern of the spray can. And back here I've got an interesting, how this turned out I don't know, but I do like that effect. But this is what the screws look like back there. Here are my photo etched areas that I started to put on. Now I haven't gotten very far on the photo etch. I put about 15 hours into photo etch, and you can see this is as far as I got. But bending those ladders is really easy with this photo etch bender. I really like having this thing, and you can see the detail. It's not terrible. It could be better on this ship, but it's not too bad. A lot of the hatches and doorways are photo etched parts that I have added onto here. So anyway, folks, that's where we're going to break it for today. We'll see you again soon with part 2.